Hello there. My name is Mr. Mafim Shabito Wishetu Adeyemi, the CEO of Mafitech Experts. As I told you earlier, I'll be taking you on web designing and graphic design. But in this session, we will start with creating of the web. So we will start with HTML. So before getting started, we need to get our tools ready. And what are the tools that we are going to use to build our web page? We are going to use a code editor. So what are the code editor? We have the Sublime, we have the Bracket, we have the Atom, we have the Notepad plus and the Notepad. But however, I'll be using Visual Studio Code for this course specifically. So without further ado, so let's get started. So the first thing we are going to do, we're going to create a folder on our desktop. So you right click the desktop on the cascading menu that appear, move your mouse to new, and on the subject of folder that appear or of the sub menu, click folder. So new folder will be created on your desktop. Then you give it a name. We call it HTML app. So this is the app we are going to create now, which is the HTML. So before we start, I told you about the code editor we'll be using for this course. So let's go to the web and get it ready. So let's download it. So I will use my Firefox web browser to download that. So I've click that now to get ready. As soon as it's ready, so we will start typing Visual Studio Code to download our course. So let's wait for it. It's loading. I think this system is too slow, so I think I will find solution. The system need to be renewed. So I think I'll budget for that to buy a new system so that we'll get abreast with the latest tech. So now our web browser is up and running. So let's type Visual Studio. You can see before typing it, it's ready. Then we click Visual Studio Code download. So it's loading now. So immediately the Visual Studio Code is ready. So we click at the link. So you can see now it's ready. It says download Visual Studio Code, Mac, Linux, and Windows. So we click at it. So when we click at it, it will load again. So it's taking us to Visual Studio Code website. So when it's fully ready, so we select the type of Visual Studio Code application that we need. So you can see Visual Studio Code is ready now. This is the website of Visual Studio Code. You can see we have download Visual Studio Code. It says free and build on open source, integrated Git debugging and extension. So let's view that now. So we have Visual Studio Code for Windows. You can see Windows we have for the Linux and for the Macintosh computer. So all depend on the type of computer you are using. So if you are using Mac, you click at the Mac. If you are using Linux, you click for the Linux. If you are using Windows, you click for the Windows. So immediately you click all these icon or the download look icon here. You can see download icon, download icon. Immediately you click it, it will start downloading automatically. So immediately you get download. So now I have it on my system, so I don't need to download it again. So if you are using Windows, you choose Windows. If you are using Linux, you choose Linux. If you are using Mac, you choose Mac. So immediately you finish download, so you go to your download where the file has been downloaded. So you click at the setup. So you follow the procedure, next until you click finish. So since we have already downloaded and installed Visual Studio Code on our computer now. So let's close the browser. So close the browser. So we are back to desktop. So now we are going to load Visual Studio Code with our folder that we created earlier. So we have two methods in doing that. So now the first method, we use the folder, we right click the folder to select open with code, while the other method, we load the Visual Studio Code first, and we click file and select um folder or open folder. So the folder will be open in Visual Studio Code. So let's go for the first step. So we right click now. Let's right click the folder HTML app. So a cascading menu will appear. Then you will now see open with code. We click at it. So open with code. So let's wait, it's processing now. So Visual Studio Code will open the folder which contain HTML app. So that is our first procedure in open folder with Visual Studio Code. So now we are waiting for it to process. So my system is a bit lagging, so just bear with me. So we'll sort it out. So you can see now we have HTML app. So it's fully loaded now with Visual Studio Code. So now, since we have learned the first step on loading Visual Studio Code with the folder that we created on the desktop, so we are going to learn the second step now, or the second method, by loading the application first before selecting the folder. So anyone that met your requirement, you follow that procedure to get your code editor running. So now we are done with this. So let's close it. Close the first step. So it's still loading. So let's close it. So now that is the first step. The second step, we are going to load the app first. So double click the app desktop, which I have done. So we wait for it to load. So after the app has fully loaded, so now follow the procedure that I earlier said, that we will move to file in the menu bar. So on the drop down menu, we will now select open folder. Then we go to the particular directory or the route or path which we store that particular folder on, to select that particular folder. Then we now select folder. Automatic, that folder will open in our Visual Studio Code. Then by then we can start coding. So you can see now the app is fully up and running. So you can see now. So let's wait, it's still loading. So just bear with me. My system is too slow, so I will work on it so that we will not have some lagging when we are coding. So now you can see now. So I'll go to the menu bar. This is the menu bar. I'll click file. You can see file. We now click open folder. So when we click open folder, a dialog box will appear. So you can see the dialog box has already displayed. So now we choose the route or the directory where we created our folder. So in this case, my folder here is created on the desktop. So let me go to the route on desktop. I'll click desktop. You can see desktop is here. Then I will now look for the file name, which is HTML app. So let me scroll down and look for HTML app. You can see HTML app here. So I click at it. I will now select folder. So automatically the folder will open on Visual Studio Code. So let's wait for it. So when it open, so by then we can start moving forward on how to what? How to code. So this procedure, don't forget, if the first method met your requirement, you follow the first method. If the second method met your requirement of your system, you follow the second method. You can see now it has fully opened. You can see HTML app. So it's up and running. So since this file is up and running, we'll have it here. So I don't want to bug you with a lot of information now, because we are just getting ready to know how to code since we are beginner. So we have a lot of information that we retain in our muscle memory. So we have to stop here. So in our next lesson, we will start learning about the building block of HTML. So on how to do that. So I will see you in my next lesson. So see you there.